Every single iron farm tutorial is either unreliable, ugly, hard to build, and too efficient. And they don't even explain to you how it works. Today, I'm fixing that. Roll the intro.
Vaud the Builder, can we fix it? Vaud the Builder, yes we can.
Hi, I'm Vaud, and in this series I unleash my inner engineer, builder, and mad scientist trying to figure out how things work in Minecraft. Every time I build an iron farm, I experience this. Number one, reliability. They always break on me. Like, for example, they required a zombie. What about if you play it on peaceful? And then you need a name tag, which are hard to get. And maybe it's just me, but sometimes my zombie despawns, especially when I place them on a boat. They just disappear. And if they're inside a boat, it's really hard to position them correctly. And sometimes the zombie is not aggressive and the villager is not scared of the zombie. Issue number two, they're ugly. Who wants to have a floating eyesore structure in the world? They are too big. And I have only seen one tutorial that they tried to cover it. It requires a lot of space, lots of material, and the killing chamber, ooh, ugly. Issue number three, they are too efficient. Like, this is way too much iron for a single player world. I will never ever use that much iron as a single player. And also you have to deal with the constant noise of a golem dying in lava. That's just cruel. And number four, they are hard to build, especially if you are afraid of heights. Because you have to build them a few blocks above ground in order for them to work. So I'm afraid of heights. I'm always pressing shift when I'm up here. It's really scary, especially in survival. And then you have to transport the zombie and the villager all the way up here. So you end up having a crazy looking staircase like that. It's not fun, especially at night. Trying to catch a zombie at night and bringing it up here, not fun at all. So for me, this is too much. So I have a smaller design, no zombie required, overall easier to build, quite compact. You can even hide it underground. It only works during the day and it spawns an iron golem every 2 minutes. So at the end of your Minecraft day, your chest will look something like this. This is more reasonable, So today we are looking at this iron farm. And I'll give you an explanation how everything works while I build it. Rather than the typical block by block tutorial, because if it breaks, you don't know how to fix it. If you need to build it again, you need to rewatch the tutorial. Wait, that's actually kind of smart. Keep people coming back and watching your video again? And after that super long intro, alright, let's get started. And this iron farm has two modules. One, where the villagers live, and two, where the iron golems spawn in and get killed. So let me show you. The first module where the villagers live is a very simple 5 beds right next to each other and some slabs to avoid any mobs, including iron golems, from spawning. Because there are two ways that villagers spawn iron golems. One option is for them to actually be scared of the zombie. And for this you need at least 3 or more villagers to be scared of the zombie for them to produce an iron golem. But if you don't want to use a zombie, you'll need to use the other mechanic, which is the gossip. Let me show you. When you have more than one villager, they start talking to each other and they will gossip about you. For example, if you cure them or trade with them, those are positive gossip. But if you attack them, or even worse, kill them, that will be a negative gossip. If something happens to any of these guys, everybody will know. And in order for these villagers to produce an iron golem, you need 5 of them or more. And that's why right here we have the 5 beds. 1 bed for each one of the villagers. This is all the space they need. They don't need workstations. And you want to do this chamber 3 blocks high. So when they are here, they can actually move. Going back up here, something you need to consider is if you're going to have a gap between the chamber and the iron golem spawning platform, you need to cover them with non-spawnable blocks, in this case a slab, because you don't want the golems to spawn on this area and then getting stuck. And now let's talk about bringing the villagers into the chamber. We are in creative mode, of course. You can type villager and just bring one here, but we want to do this in survival, right? There are multiple ways you can bring the villagers in, but my favorite are these two. Number 1, a boat. Number 2, a workstation. If you found a villager and you want to bring him in, you put a boat and then you can hop on the boat with him and come back to the area. If you have a lead, this is even easier. Now that you don't need slime balls for the leads, even better. So you just hook it up. You can just jump to a high spot, bring the villager in like that, and just position it correctly and get rid of the boat, and then he will stay inside. Wait, come back. This mechanic worked against me. He saw this. You're not supposed to see this. So we are experiencing technical difficulties. All right, as I was saying, that's kind of mean. All right, we are going to get this villager to follow the composters. That's hard for me to say that word. So the workstation, like we're leaving a trail for him, like Hansel and Gretel. Okay, so he's gonna see this workstation. He likes it, but we are going to break it. He's gonna see the other workstation. Aha, he likes it. You see how he follows it? We're gonna break it, and he's gonna see another one. And he's gonna be trapped there forever and ever. So if we wanna change that, and he will come to this workstation. And you can do that indefinitely. Pretty cool. So if this is underground, you can simply place the workstations here, and then the villagers will follow down into the workstation. Pretty simple. Exuma Void a few days ago showed us how to move villagers using the workstations. Pretty useful. And just to let you know, this glass is just completely cosmetic. It's just for me to see the villagers inside. This could be completely covered, completely underground. Maybe you want to place a torch, but because these blocks are non-spawnable, nothing will happen to them. But put a torch inside. They're gonna be trapped there forever. So may as well make their lives a little bit less miserable. Sorry. So if you have any questions or suggestions about this villager chamber, let me know in the comments and I'll try to answer every single comment. Also, if any of this information is not quite correct, please let me know in the comments. Thanks. And now let's move to the killing chamber. Alright, let me go down here to show you how this is going to work. We will start with water and how water flows. This is important because you can change this design to fit whatever space you're building. It doesn't have to be this exact shape. So this is how it works. When you place water, it spreads in every direction. From the center, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 blocks. So if we want to control this from the middle block, let's close it off so we can see how the water behaves this way. So from this corner, we have 8 blocks in each direction. And because this is Minecraft, the water doesn't flow naturally, it flows in blocks like this. So we can say 4 blocks wide, and then we can unblock it off like this. And then because this is a little uneven, we can say we don't want 8 blocks, we just want 7, and we can block this off. And then we have this little L shape that we can place our hoppers in, because everything you throw into the water will end up on those blocks. It doesn't matter where you throw it, or where it spawns, or where it dies in this case, it will go to those blocks. It will always flow in that direction and end up in one of those 3 blocks. So that is the ideal place to dig down and place our hoppers. I don't want to assume that everybody knows how to work with chests and hoppers, so this is a really quick explanation how that works. So when you place a hopper, they are directional. If you place the hopper looking at that block, the items will try to flow into the block that you were looking at. And you can see by the shape of the hopper is pointing down. But in this case, if I place a hopper facing a block, the hopper will have the spout, in this case, coming to the side, trying to suck items and then put them into that particular block. And you can do the same if you want to place a hopper facing another hopper. So in order to do that, we need to press Shift and right click. Otherwise, we just go into the hopper inventory. So the first hopper that we placed is pointing down, trying to deliver items to that block. But the one that we placed right next to it, facing into the hopper, is trying to deliver those items into that hopper. So if we're trying to throw an item, this hopper will bring it in and deliver it to the next hopper over, like that. And you can do a hopper chain like this. So one is facing into the middle hopper, and then this one is also going to face into that hopper. So now we have two hoppers facing into that. So it doesn't matter if we throw it in there or in there, they will end up in this middle hopper. So in this case, you can replace that block that this hopper is looking into and place a chest. So those items will go into the chest instead. Hopper into the middle hopper, same as this one. And then this hopper delivering the items to the chest. And just like that, you have your items inside the chest. And you can even do a double chest if you wanted to add extra storage. Now that you know this, you can do situations like this. You have a chest and then a hopper facing into the chest, in another chest, and another hopper facing into it, you know what I mean? And then another chest. And then you can place those items there and they will travel all the way into the chain like so. And your items will end up right at the bottom. You can use this principle to create a hopper chain. It doesn't have to be on the back every single time. It can be on the side like this. Like that. If the same principle, the hopper is pointing into the chests, place the items there, they'll travel in the sequence and delivering the items all the way down to the bottom. So knowing that, this is what we've done on the killing chamber. We have a chest, a hopper facing into that chest, and then two hoppers facing into the middle hopper delivering the items. Again, it doesn't matter where you throw them, they will end up in the... it fell down! That should not supposed to happen. It's fine, don't worry. The iron golems will spawn here, no items, and then when they'll come here after they get killed, then the items will drop into any of these three. The odds of the item falling to the side are very slim. And while we're here, let's discuss the choice of blocks. In this case, I'm using walls. Any stone wall will do. And why do we have to use walls instead of full blocks? It's because sometimes the iron golem will spawn on this block right here. But because these guys are massive, we're talking about a guy that looks like this. Sometimes its arm will spawn in there and it will get stuck. One option is, instead of having a wall like this, you have two solid blocks like this. So instead of having this wall like this, you have two solid blocks like that. It minimizes the amount of golems that actually get stuck in there, but it's not a completely foolproof. So if this was a full block, it will get stuck. But because this is not a full block and there's a little gap, its arm, I think, kind of does that. And it's like, okay, I can move, and then it's fine. And we have gone for 3 blocks high, and sometimes they can actually get out of here if there's only 2 blocks. They're pretty tall. They're quite bouncy in the water. So we decided to go for a 3 block high wall instead. Now for the killing chamber. There are multiple ways to kill iron golems. You can use campfires, for example. Let's say you want a campfire up here. So place the campfire, and then the hopper will go underneath like so. So in this case, the iron golem will fall into the campfire, start taking damage, and then the items will be sucked through and sent to the chest. If you want to do that, you'll have to replace the 3 hoppers and lower the hopper chain 1 block down. But I like this solution a bit better. And what is this kind of magic that we are making a lava bucket block floating in the air? And it's because of these signs, floating signs. Minecraft Physics 101. So let me show you how that works. So down here, if we have a wall like this, let's get our lava, and we want to contain the lava in this block. We're going to place this temporary block just for now. So now we need to find items that can actually stop the lava from flowing. So I'm just gonna grab a trapdoor, I'm gonna grab a sign and a ladder just to show you. So if we place the ladder right next to where we're going to place the block, and then one underneath on either side. You cannot place it on here because the hitbox of the ladder is not completely flat, so you can't place it in there. And then when you replace the temporary block with lava, it will stay there because of hitboxes, you see? And you can do the same with trapdoors. We flick them, again, hitboxes, place the lava, and the lava will stay there. How are the ladders and the trapdoors not getting burned? I have no idea. If this was real life, those will be long gone. And then the last thing we're gonna try is this, and place it here, and you can leave a message for the iron golems like see you later, not something like that, and then place the lava up there. So Steve, it's only 2 blocks tall, which is like 2 meters in real life. It's a pretty tall fella. He doesn't get burned. An iron golem is about 3 blocks tall. So whenever he comes to this area, he will get turned into charcoal. Not real charcoal, you know what I mean. And that's important because we don't want the items that they drop to get burned. In this case, if the lava was lower, some of the items might actually get burned in the lava, like that. So we're placing it high enough so the items don't fall into the lava and they go straight down into the hoppers. And the last thing I want to warn you about is about the spawn area that the golems can actually spawn. And to find a valid spawn point, up to 10 attempts to spawn a golems will be made in a 17 by 13 by 17 box center on the villager, any of these. So if you're going to build this underground, you need to make sure that all the caves need to be either completely filled, so there's no caves anymore, or you need to spawn proof them. You can either use glass or slabs or things like buttons. Mobs cannot spawn on glass. If you're going to use half slabs, make sure that you place them in the bottom part of the block, not at the top, because that becomes just a normal block. And if you're going to use buttons, just cover them like that. And if you're building this farm really close to the ground, if you have grass or dirt, you can convert this into paths, because paths are non-spawnable blocks. And let's see this farm in action. It's nighttime and nothing is spawning. The villagers are asleep, waiting for the day. As soon as the day hits, they are going to get up, start gossiping, and then we should see some iron golems spawning. Wakey wakey! Let's see them. Are they gossiping? Yes, they are. Let's go up here, and sure enough, we shall see an iron golem spawning relatively soon. And right there! We just saw it just spawn right in front of our own eyes. And there you go, our first iron golems spawning in our newly built iron farm. And after a few seconds of pain, he has given us some iron. Iron golems will drop between 0 and 2 poppy flowers and between 3 and 5 iron ingots 100% of the time. There's another one walking into the fire. That's a really painful death. This is sad. The things we do in Minecraft for resources. There we go. And suffering complete, 2 poppies and 4 ingots. Before you leave, I'll be building this iron farm in the next episode of my Forever Minecraft World. Shameless plug. Also tell me in the comments if you're planning to build this iron farm yourself. Also let me know if you have any questions. A huge thanks to my Patreons. You guys are the best. I really appreciate it. Thank you. And up here, I'll leave another video I think you should watch next. And I'm not going to ask you to subscribe, but don't forget to eat breakfast tomorrow. Yes, I'm looking at you. And I'll see you in the next video. Bye.